everyone! Tonight we have 8 wonderful guests with all amazing out-of-this-world experiences with God. Now, without further ado, may I have the pleasure of introducing you our first guests of tonight. They're avid forbidden fruit enjoyers and banned from Eden, but not from our hearts. Everyone, Adam and Eve!
Do you want some?
You two are literally made for each other. How have you two been?
I've been good.
You both seem lovely. Since you two have such a strong connection, I've always wondered, did you even really fall in love at first sight?
Actually, I did. Of course I fell in love at first sight. When I saw my faithful day, I felt like I needed to be with him. Adam would say so as well.
That's amazing, but now I'm curious. How did you both even meet?
Well, that's quite funny story. It was just before we took a nap at the Garden of Eden, and while I was sleeping,
God just created me from my husband's rib. It was quite a pleasant surprise for both him and me.
Anyways, I've mentioned before that you were banished from Eden. I know this is a sensitive topic, but do you mind telling us what you've been planning to rebuild your lives?
we learned from our mistakes. We even plan on moving on. We even have 2 wonderful children. Hopefully they get along well, and none of them will betray one another.
Thank you, Mr. Adam and Mrs. Eve, for coming here tonight. Everyone, give it up for Adam and Eve! Now, for our next guest who came from far land of Silica, he is a master prosecutor and an expert glider. Everyone, give it up for the Apostle Paul of Tarsus!
For me, to live is Christ and to die is gain.
Wow, you really want to act. Speaking of acts, how many churches have you persecuted in the book of Acts?
I really didn't expect that. Well, I used to persecute hundreds, if not thousands, of churches back in Damascus. It really was one of the darkest periods of my life and a stain to my legacy.
And that's really awful. Anyways, how is life after realizing all the heinous and sinful things you did prior to becoming a born again? Am I right, crowd?
After I realized that I was born again and that I realized all those things I committed, I felt ashamed, like I betrayed my people and betrayed God. I slaughtered so many people, hurt them because of what they believed in. It was so cruel. That's why I committed into changing myself in the image of God and spreading His word to everyone and anyone who listened.
Though I've always wondered, what did you do after you met Ananias and the rest of the disciples? How hard was it to move on?
I am eternally grateful for their forgiveness and their willingness to enlighten me about God. They have set me up to become the man I am today. They let me praise and worship God even though they knew I was a sinner. Words cannot describe how much of an impact their teachings left me.
Aww. Wow, that's really incredibly moving. Much like for our next guest after this short break.
Bible. Oh. Well, you still read the Bible? That's so weird. So, what's the problem in reading it? Only nerds read. Be a cool guy and play cool guy video games. No! You see? Only nerds read these. Be cool and play video games. Stop it right there, you bug man! What are you doing that bad Bible? Oh, it's nothing. We were just playing around, right? You see, my mother who passed away always told me to read the Bible. Whenever I read it, it feels like she's still with me, reading it with me. The adult then scolds the bully, making him cry and run away. And remember, we aren't just telling stories, we're changing lives.
We are back. Let's talk about friendship. Let's give a round of applause to Mr. David and Mr. Jonathan.
Times and bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. Good evening, everyone.
Well, to start off, I was wondering if you guys are seeing each other.
What?
Of course not.
We're just really good friends.
Your friendship is really one of a kind. I'd love to know what is the secret for a great friendship like yours.
Well, commitment gets tested over time in our relationship, but we decide to stay faithful and loyal, as well as encourage one another in order to grow our relationship with God.
And great friendship begin with those kind of things where you will feel the loss, like the time when I found out Jonathan was in a battle of Mount Gilboa alongside his father and brothers.
Well, friendship is one of the exceptional gifts in life. There's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Well, thank you for coming here tonight, Mr. David and Mr. Jonathan. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the first human ATM and a human footstool, Mr. Zacchaeus.
Say sorry now.
What should I be apologizing for?
Say sorry for making fun of my height. I am more than just a short person. Say sorry now.
Well, I am sorry.
Apology accepted. Anyways, I'm so happy to be invited here. Hello everyone.
I've been meaning to ask, how did the world's most corrupt person change himself so fast? It's such a fascinating show of faith.
Well, the town knows that I was a very unsavory person. After I started becoming a follower of Jesus, I paid back 120% to the victims. I started as a new person, testifying the goodness of God in my life, and established a new mission to seek and save the lost.
Wow, that's incredible. It really shows that faith can change even the most corrupt person. And we will be right back after this break.
Bastos ka! Police, hindi ako as bastos as you!
When two Christian friends get in an argument in a Bible study.
Bakit mo ba sinabi yun sa mga pastor? Dahil you are na magandang friend.
Nasaan na po si Miss Annalyn? Di ba partners kayo sa assignment niyo?
I think ayaw na na here. Ako lang naman nagagawa ng work eh.
Ay nako, meron pa naman siya gagawin sa coordinator.
I'll do it na lang po.
When your best friend took your dream church position.
Okay lang ba siya?
By Bible Study, tonight on AM8. And we are back. Please give a warm welcome to our next guest, the Nazarite, Mr. Sampson. Welcome to our show, Mr. Sampson.
Thank you so much for inviting me to the show.
I appreciate you having you here. But reaching to our first question, what is the significance of you here?
It comes from a long and bloody story with lots of death.
there's no happily ever after. But one thing that sets the story apart from the other is the symbol of strength.
I assume you did many notable deeds, but what is your greatest downfall? And give an advice to our audience.
I was a walking impulse machine. I just had to go and get it. I wasn't able and willing to say no to my personal passion. My advice to everyone who's watching, do not neglect your commitments. Do not follow your shallower impulse and follow the Holy Spirit. And lastly, do not ever trust a girl named Delilah. She will ruin your life and most importantly, your hair. What are you doing to me? No! Let go of me! I'm not done yet! You will pay for this, Delilah! Screw you, Delilah! You will pay!
Now, certainly not the least, ladies and gentlemen, we are ecstatic to have him here tonight. The one and only Moses! Great to have you here in the show. You don't even look like 120 years old. I've always wondered, you've split the Red Sea before, right?
Yeah, actually, that was quite an interesting story.
I always thought as a kid, was the Red Sea really...
Was the Red Sea really red? No, it wasn't really red. And no, it doesn't taste like popsicles. And no, it doesn't taste like blood! I'm sorry, I got a little like that. It's really personal. I had the same conversation with the kids 120 years ago.
Speaking of the Red Sea, where were you even going?
We were actually headed to the Promised Land. Wait, let me show you. Oh wait, here it is. We weren't going to be stopped by some sea. We were determined to go to this place and live freely, even if it costs bloodshed and our lives.
Wow, that's truly inspirational. Also, you should tilt your device so it don't fall off the edge. Wow, what an interesting guy. I hope you all had a wonderful evening getting to know the most 7 prominent figures in the Bible, and Zacchaeus. And that's it for the Late Night in Eden. I am your host, Chriselle, and I hope you all had a wonderful evening.